Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today we're going to be making some more body lotion. Now in my last lotion making video, we made a very basic shea butter body lotion, which is a really great recipe, but I wanted to share with you a basic recipe at that time. And today I want to share with you something a little bit more luxurious. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to add in extracts to your lotion, and we're also going to be using a different recipe and formulation altogether. If you're interested in this recipe, please visit my Patreon campaign where you can check it all out. Let's get started. All right, now before we get started, as always with lotions, it's really important to sterilize your entire environment. And you can do that with a 5% bleach and water solution. You just make sure you scrub everything down with a warm 5% bleach and water solution, including the equipment that you're going to be using, like your immersion blenders, your spatulas, your pipettes, any containers that are going to be holding your product. And you're going to want to make sure that you're wearing gloves, long sleeves, and that your hair is at least pulled back. In the lotion that we're making today, we're going to be using distilled water, cocoa butter, sweet almond oil, emulsifying wax, stearic acid, liquid silk, oat extract, fragrance oil, and preservative. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and weigh out. This is called the water phase, the heated water phase. So in lotion making, there's a couple phases. You have a heated water and oil phase, and then you have a cool down phase. And right now, we're just going to be weighing out the water that we're going to be warming up. So here is my container for water. I'm making a rather large batch today. So when I share this on my Patreon campaign, I will scale the recipe down. So we're just going to go ahead and weigh out the water. And you always want to make sure you're using distilled water or filtered clean water. You're not going to want to use tap water for your lotions because tap waters can have microorganisms and sometimes metals. You want to keep them out of your lotion. Okay, once your water is weighed off, you're going to set that over to the side, and then we're going to go ahead and weigh out the measurements for our heated oil phase. Now, I'm using a very big container here because this eventually is where all the lotion is going to be going into. So I'm going to be weighing out my heated oil phase into this large container, so when we're ready to combine the oil and water, you have enough room. So the base of this recipe is cocoa butter, and we're using cocoa butter for a couple different reasons. It's a pretty lightweight butter actually when it turns into a lotion. The cream is non-greasy feeling and it just kind of soaks right into the skin. So it has a really good skin feel, and it also has really good healing properties. Cocoa butter is known to be soothing and also healing. It's got antioxidants. Women have been using it for stretch marks for a long time. So cocoa butter is just a really nice, luxurious, lightweight kind of butter to use in your creams. So that is what we're going to be using today. And it's got, even though it's deodorized cocoa butter, you're still going to catch a little whiff of that kind of cocoa chocolatey smell, which just, it's nice. It's a nice, mild chocolatey fragrance. So I'll talk to you about what we're using as fragrance oil when we get to that point to kind of complement this warm chocolatey fragrance. Okay, and then directly to this cocoa butter, we're going to be adding in our sweet almond oil. I already have this pre-measured out because I buy my sweet almond oil in bulk. So it's much easier just to have it already weighed out. So sweet almond oil is a nice light carrier oil. It's also pretty emollient, and it's a great oil to use for skincare and lotions. Now directly to this, we're going to be adding in our emulsifying wax. Emulsifying wax is just the ingredient that you use to combine the oils and water. If you're not using emulsifying wax, your oils and water will separate and it won't make lotion. This is what makes lotion lotion. Directly to this, we're going to be adding in our stearic acid. Now, stearic acid is the ingredient that makes your lotion thick. So depending on how thick you want it, is how much percentage-wise you use per batch. So it's kind of a personal preference, but definitely you know when you've had too much of it in there. All right, that's everything that goes into the heated oil phase. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and heat up my oils, my e-wax, my stearic acid, and my water over a double boiler, and I'll bring you right back when everything's melted down. All right, we've got everything melted down and warmed up, and now it's time to go ahead and create the lotion. So the way that you do this is you always pour the water into the oil mixture, not the other way around. So we're gonna go ahead and get our immersion blender ready to go. And then you're gonna see as soon as I pour this water in, this is gonna turn white. That is the emulsification process starting to happen. You're gonna see that it's automatically gonna start turning into lotion as soon as I pour the water in. Okay, we're gonna just give this a little mix. Okay, so we're just blending this using an immersion blender, and we're just making sure everything is very well combined and blended. Okay, I was blending that for several minutes, and you can see the mixture is starting to thicken up, but it's rather warm still, so it's not gonna set up completely till it gets cool. So I'm gonna set this aside, and then we'll come back and blend it again some more, but in the meantime, we're gonna weigh out our cool down ingredients. So here is what goes into the cool down phase. So we're gonna be adding in some liquid silk to this recipe. So into this container, I'm gonna be adding in liquid silk. Liquid silk, I purchased this from Brambleberry. It's just a really nice additive to put into your lotion. It gives it a nice, obviously silky feeling to your lotion. And it adds a nice slip as well. So it has a really good skin feel. Now this is a rather expensive ingredient, but it is so luxurious and it makes your lotions feel really good. And so also if you're selling your product, this has great label appeal. So there's the liquid silk, and then to this we're going to be adding in our oat extract. And oat extract is it's very calming. It's like adding, when you add colloidal oats into your soap, it just has a nice calming property to it. And then directly to this, we're going to be adding in our preservative. Now we are using Optifin preservative today because it's a paraben-free preservative, and also it's great for oil-based products. Now normally you would be able to just go ahead and add in your fragrance oil right into here, but I'm going to be splitting my batch in half and doing 2 different fragrances. So I'm going to add my fragrance oil separately. So we're just going to, this is our cool down phase. We're just going to go ahead and give it a stir. And set it aside. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the fragrances that I've chosen. So I'm going to split this batch into halves, and in one half I'm going to be adding in the Vanilla Lace and Pearls by Nature's Garden. This is absolutely the best vanilla I've ever come across. It's really a gorgeous fragrance for lotions and body butters. This is actually the one that I use for my body butters as well. It just has a really nice warm vanilla. It reminds me of that vanilla body oil that the Body Shop used to carry. If you guys are familiar with that, that's going way back. I'm probably dating myself a little bit there, but the vanilla body oil at the Body Shop back in the day used to carry something that smelled very, very much like this to me. So it's kind of nostalgic, smells awesome. And then I'm using in the other half Chocolate Orchid by Nature's Garden, and don't let the name deceive you. It doesn't really smell like chocolate, but it does have a warm base note, you know, a chocolatey base note that doesn't really carry through, but what it does is it anchors the top notes. So it just has a lot of depth. It's very floral, warm, gorgeous. So the reason why I've chosen these 2 fragrances to go into this lotion is because this lotion is made with cocoa butter. And like we discussed earlier, cocoa butter has a natural kind of chocolatey base note to it. Even your deodorized cocoa butter, it doesn't carry through. Most of the time it won't carry through to your finished product if you wanted to use something that didn't have a warm note to it. But I find that when you use fragrances that have a warm note to it in combination with your cocoa butter, it just smells fantastic. All right, we're going to go ahead and check on our mixture here. As you can see, this does try to emulsify like against the sides of the container. It's definitely more thick on top than it is on the bottom right now. So you just want to make sure you're scraping down your sides of your container as this is setting up. And we're going to give it another blend and see where we are with it. Okay, as you can see, it is thickening up quite nicely. Still not the consistency it's going to be when it's all the way done, because it still is kind of warm, but we may be able to go ahead and add in the cool down ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick temperature read here. Yes, we're sitting at 100 degrees. Now, it's important not to add in your cool down phase when it's above 100 degrees, because you just want to be careful that you're not burning off any of those beautiful extracts that are going into the lotion, and you don't want to burn off the preservative. So Optifin, the one that I have, says that it is stable up to 140 degrees, but I always like to err on the side of caution and add it in around 100 degrees with my cool down phase. So we're just going to go ahead and add in our cool down ingredients. Make sure you're getting all that good stuff in there. And then we're going to blend it up some more. Okay, at this point I'm going to go ahead and split off my batch. I'm going to split it in half. And then I'll show you how to go ahead and add in the fragrance oil. So I do want to go ahead and make sure I'm measuring this out and not eyeballing it, so we get exact amounts. So I'm making a 20-pound batch today. No, I'm sorry, I'm making a 10-pound batch today. So I'm going to be weighing off 5 pounds into here. Okay. So also, if you do end up splitting your mixture in half, you're going to see it will start to cool down quicker because you have less product in your container to cool down. So the next thing we're going to do is use one of the fragrance oils, and we're going to add it to this one here. So let's go ahead and start with the chocolate orchid first. I'm just going to show you one. I'm not going to show you both, but we're going to go ahead and put in the chocolate orchid first. Okay. I'm going to grab my stick blender and make sure this is all blended up. Alright, I'm back to go ahead and pipe these into the containers. I've already done the first one. These are a little tricky to pipe into because they get more narrow at the top. So they like to clog up when you get close to the top. So I'm going to have to come back at the end and top them off. I'm just using a plastic bag and a small piping tip to get these in. I don't like to pour them into the containers because the containers, when you pour the lotion in hot, it gets condensation inside the bottle. So for me, this is just a nicer way to make sure that the lotion's going in nice and cool. It does take a little bit more effort, but that's okay. All right, everybody, I went ahead and filled these all up. There's got to be a better way to do that. If you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments box below. I'm going to bring you right back to show you how I label these. All right, everybody, I went ahead and labeled all of the lotions that I made yesterday, and these were the ones that we videoed. I get my labels from onlinelabels.com, and when you purchase labels from them, you get access to the design software, and these are laser labels, meaning they have to go through a laser printer. And the reason I use those on lotions is because if you don't, they can smear after a while, and these don't. These are great. So I do have a laser printer, but for years and years I did not have a laser printer, and I just took my designs down on a USB to my local print shop and had them print them off. But basically I will go ahead and put a link in the description box to where I get the labels, and also where I got those cute little bullet bottles. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to give it a like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. Catch you on the next video.